Hey everyone, ZLR here, and I'm going to be talking about the Week 6 recap for the UFL. And we're going to start off with the Stallions and Showboats game, where the Stallions won 31 to 21. 39 to 21. I looked at the 21 first. But anyway, stats. Martinez, the quarterback, had 36 attempted passes, 23 completed for 368 yards and 4 touchdowns. That guy had a game. Um I think this guy's name is either Marable or Marable. I'm not too sure, but he had 5 rushing attempts for 31 yards. Person had 11 attempts at rushing for 29 yards for 1 touchdown. Martinez even had 25 yards off of 5 attempts at rushing. And one of the receivers, Williams, he had 13 yards off of 1 reception. On the receiving side, we had Austin with 4 receptions, 108 yards, 1 touchdown. Williams with 58 yards off of 4 receptions for 2 touchdowns. Kane, 45 yards off of 2 receptions. Bob with 45 yards off of 2 receptions. Sternberger with 35 yards off of 2 receptions. Thomas with 33 yards off of 1 reception. Victor with 16 yards off of 2 receptions. The Marable or Marable guy, 4 receptions, 12 yards, and 1 touchdown. So, a lot of people getting the ball there for the Stallions side. While the Showboats, they had 2 different quarterbacks out there. They had Cookus, one of my favorite names, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, and that was from 23 attempts at passing with 15 completed. And we also had the backup, which was Williams. He threw it 13 times, completed 6 for 65 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. We had, for rushing stats, we had Victor with 11 attempts for 42 yards, Williams with 11 yards with 2 attempts, and Cookus with 4 yards with 1 attempt. And then here's the wide receivers. They have Davis with 43 yards off 5 receptions, Adams with 36 yards off of 3 receptions, Anderson with 34 yards off of 1 reception and 1 touchdown, Apple with 30 yards off of 4 receptions, Saxton with 11 yards off of 1 reception, and Surratt with 10 yards off of 1 reception and 1 touchdown. So, like I said, pretty decent there for both of those teams. The next one we have is the Roughnecks and the Battlehawks, where the Battlehawks won 22 to 8 in practically just a rough game for the Roughnecks. And we'll go and talk about the Roughnecks first. So, quarterback, 32 attempted passes with 19 of them complete, 135 yards. I mean, not bad, not bad. For rushing, we had Thompson with 13 attempts, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. The only touchdown of the Roughnecks. And Pledger had 38 yards off his 7 attempts of rushing. Then for the receiving side, we had 59 yards off of 6 receptions for Hall. Grayson had 22 yards off of 4 receptions. Thompson had 14 yards off of 2 receptions. Chisholm had 12 yards off of 3 receptions. And Butler had 12 yards off of one reception. So pretty decent there from the Roughnecks, at least wide receiver wise. They were catching the ball a little bit. And then the Battlehawks, AJ McCarron had 37 attempted passes with 20. Ooh, I almost said 27. 24 of them being completed for 255 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. For the rushing side of things, we had Sailors with 18 yards off of 8 attempts, Galman with 10 yards off of 3 attempts, AJ McCarron with 4 yards off of 5 attempts, and the punter, I want to mention this. I don't know if it's Hofrichter. Hofrichter? I don't even know. I'll just say it as it is, Hofrichter, with 1 attempt for negative 37 yards. Don't know how you could go that far back. That's just horrible. Then for the receiving side, we had Butler with 134 yards off of 6 receptions for 2 touchdowns. Pearson with 46 yards off of 5 receptions. Mitchell with 35 yards off of 4 receptions and 1 touchdown. Pretty decent game from the wide receivers there. Sailors, 29 yards off of 5 receptions. And that's really about it for that game. So, only 2 games down. We're already almost 7 minutes into this. That's crazy. Next game we had is the Renegades and the Panthers. This one was the closest game of the week, with it being 28-27, Panthers winning it. And let's get into the stats. So we had Perez, 37 attempts at passing, 24 of them being completed for 180 yards and 1 touchdown. We had, for the rushing side, Smith with 55 yards off of 14 attempts, Hunter with 32 yards off of 4 attempts and 1 touchdown, and Peyton, the wide receiver, 14 yards off of 1 attempt for 1 touchdown. And even a quarterback got a little bit of running in, as he had 10 yards off of 3 attempts, and that was Scott. He was number 10, so he was probably the backup. Then for the receivers, we had Canella, 52 yards off of 6 receptions and 1 touchdown. Peyton with 38 yards off of 2 receptions. Vaughn's with 28 yards off of 4 receptions. Did I say 4 receptions for Peyton? I meant to say 2. Burnett with 26 yards off of 5 receptions. Smith with 13 yards off of 3 receptions. And Green with the same exact stat line, except for the lawn play, was also 13 yards off of 3 receptions. Then we have the Panthers side, where Etling had 28 attempts at passing, 16 of them being completed, 202 yards and 1 touchdown. Then we had Etling also going for 55 yards on the ground with 7 attempts at rushing. Then we had Colburn, 8 attempts rushing for 24 yards, and Hills for 9 attempts at rushing, 15 yards, 1 touchdown. Then for the receiving side of things, we had Sims with 4 receptions, 67 yards, and that was about it. Nakua. Is that Puka Nakua's brother? Let me know in the comments below if that's Puka Nakua's brother. But 2 receptions, 27 yards. Quinn, 2 receptions, 24 yards. Oaks, 1 reception, 20 yards. Hills, 2 receptions, 14 yards. Pretty decent there. Why does it say he has 1 touchdown, but wait a second. It says Etling has a passing touchdown, but all the receivers don't have a touchdown on here. Yeah, this is the app. Oop. Oh crap, it doesn't really look at well. Let me try to get it up there for you. Nah, it's not gonna work. Oh, maybe? Yeah, look at the touchdowns. All of them say 0, and that's on the wide receivers. So, that's not my fault if I got anything wrong. It's just weird. I'm just gonna say one of those receivers got a touchdown, and I don't know which one, but one of them did. And for the final game, we had the Defenders and the Brahmas, and the Defenders got the win there, 18-12. Um, let's look at the stats here. Brahmas, Dormady with 79 yards off of 16 completed passes with 26 attempts. He had 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Rushing was crazy this game for them. Lovett, 23 attempts at rushing for 153 yards. And Dormady as well had 30 yards off of 3 attempts at rushing. Then for the receivers, they had Latimer with 35 yards off of 6 receptions, Smith with 20 yards off of 3 receptions, Kirkland with 19 yards off of 3 receptions, and Lovett had 2 receptions for 1 yard and 1 touchdown. So it was their touchdown. And for the defenders' side, we had Teamu with 22 attempts at passing, 14 of them being completed, 179 yards, and 1 touchdown. Then we had, for the rushing side, uh, I think it's Higgins. Higgins? Yeah, Higgins. 63 yards off of 13 attempts at rushing. Harris, 9 attempts at rushing for 39 yards, 1 touchdown. Cootie with 11 yards off of 2 attempts at rushing. And Teamu did not have a great time rushing as he attempted it 4 times and went -7 per yards. Then for the receivers, we had Harmon with 8 receptions, 101 yards, and 1 touchdown. Rowland with 27 yards off of 1 reception. Scott with 23 yards off of 1 reception. And Ellis with 22 yards off of 2 receptions. And that should be it for this week. And as everyone knows, I already have my week 7 predictions out. So if you guys want to go and check that out, you can. And as always, like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you really want to do. And I'll also have some videos for, like, well, not videos, but my playlists for the UFL right here and the NFL right down here. So, hope you guys enjoyed all that, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you around.